Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to do our read-in. Today is our read-in. Congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause because you have made it to the very end of the book. And when you read the book, when you read a book, it's very important that once you get to the fourth quadrant, that you stop everything and you just go and finish the book. Okay, so i am going to teach you that good readers, once you reach the fourth quadrant of the book, or sorry, the third quadrant of the book, and you reach the turning point, then you read to the end of the book without any interruptions. You read all the way to the end in order to have the beautiful and satisfying feeling of finishing a chapter book, finishing another chapter book. So, as you get ready to do that, I want you to think about at the very end of the book, this is when the author starts to tie up loose ends. Right now, we have questions. We have questions about what's going to happen next. We have questions about what is Grandpa going to do next. Peter just got attacked by Grandpa. How is Peter going to react? How are they going to keep fighting? What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? So by the end of this book, we're going to have all of our questions answered. So yes, if you have snacks, if you have a drink, if you just be careful with your drink, don't spill it on your Chromebook. Make sure it's a drink that has a cap on, or a drink that won't spill. Or if it has got a cap, just put the cap back on when you're not drinking it. But be careful with your Chromebook. We don't want it to get wet. But if you have a drink, get ready with your drink. Get ready with your snacks. If you have a snack, let's see, show us your snack. What are you eating today? What are you snacking on? Okay, cool, cool. Jasmine's got some apples. Amari's got some Rice Krispies. Popcorn for Mason. Popcorn for Jose. Ooh, popcorn with some chile for Maribel. Wow, Maribel. You got some brisk tea for Kyra. Doritos. Some Doritos for our Arian. Some Doritos from Esmeralda. Wow, Esmeralda, those are yummy. Put a little bit of limon and chile. Delicioso, right? Okay, and some pan dulce from Stephanie. Stephanie is ready. What about you, Lila? What do you got? Zero? Oh, go get a bowl of cereal or something. She's got, or is this an egg? Do you got an egg? Unos huevitos de chorizo, something? No, she's like, no, I just want to read the book, Mr. Campos. Read me the book already. Some peaches. All right. What is that? Some chips, Halen. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, boys and girls, let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Here we go. We're going to read The War with Grandpa, the read-in. This is our read-in. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoy the end of this book. Let's go. Let's go. All right. We are on page 118, page 118 on chapter 32. Okay, on chapter 32. Here we go. We are going to read The Last Strategy Conference, chapter 32. We were eating lunch at our usual table in the lunchroom. Wait a minute, that's not exactly right. Billy and Steve were eating lunch. I was begging for my lunch. I got half an apple from Steve. Billy had a liverwurst sandwich, which he hated, so he gave me half of it. I hated it too. We both ate the bread. Where am I? We both ate the bread and left the liverwurst. Steve said he would give me half of the milk to drink. The second half. The second half? After he already drank out of it and then put his spit back in there? Ugh. Sorry. The second half, he said, luckily, a nice kid named Nathaniel Robbins gave me a peanut butter cookie. I had told the boys about my terrible morning, and they laughed like crazy. Stealing your shoelaces? Steve said. That was a master stroke. It was a rotten trick, I said. I like how he put each book in different suitcases, Billy said, and he began laughing again. Wait a minute, I said. Whose side are you on anyway? I took a sip of the second half of Steve's milk, which was warm and hateful. One sip was enough. We walked outside the schoolyard and sat down on the steps in the sun. You're going to get your grandpa back for this, Steve said. Indubitably, I said, which was one of Steve's words. Not something simple, I hope, said Steve. I think this calls for massive retaliation. It won't be something simple, I said. You've got to really get him this time, Billy said. Get him how? I asked. I don't know. Billy said, paint his hair, maybe. I wasn't listening to Billy because I had already decided what I would do. It was something I had thought about doing before this, but it seemed too awful. But after what Grandpa had done to me, it seemed all right now. Look, guys, I said, I know what I'm going to do. It's terrible, and I probably shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. And I'll tell you one other thing. If it doesn't work, I'm going to surrender. You can't, Billy said. Oh, yes, I can, I said. I'll learn to live in my stupid room. I won't like it, but I'll do it. Or else Grandpa will get back in a more terrible way. I don't even want to think about it. You're chicken, Billy said. And you're right, I said. I think I figured something out. War isn't such fun after all. Chapter 33, The Last Attack. The first thing I had to do was make Grandpa worry. I couldn't forget how nervous, make that terrified I was while waiting for Grandpa to drop the other shoe. Now I'd give him back some of his own medicine. I kept saying things to him like, how are you, Grandpa? And he'd say, fine. And then I'd say, just wait. I also developed this little weird laugh. I sounded nutty even to me. So when I'd pass him on the stairs, I'd turn around. I don't know if I had any effect or not, but it made me feel good. I waited through all of that week. He'd made me almost late for school. I didn't want it to be another school day when I got my revenge. I wanted to be home so I could see everything that was going to happen. On Friday night, as I'd done once before, I set my alarm for for the middle of the night, sneaking down the stairs was a lot easier this time. The house was quiet, but I was even quieter. The doorknob on the door turned in my hand. I sneaked in on tippy toes. The thing I was stealing was in a glass of water on Grandpa's night table. I took the glass of water and backed up slowly out of the room. Grandpa was still sleeping calmly and peacefully, not even snoring. I closed the door and made it upstairs very easily. I dumped the glass of water in the sink and let what was in the glass fall softly into my hand. I didn't want to hurt them. I took a whole bunch of face tissues from the box and wrapped them up nicely. They made a small, soft package. Boys and girls, does anyone have an idea of what he's stealing? If you've already seen the movie, you can't tell us. If you've already seen the movie. Who has not seen the movie? Who has not seen the movie? Stephanie, you have not seen the movie? No? Valeria, you have not seen the movie? Okay. What do you think he is stealing, Valeria?
His what's it called? His slippers or something like that.
His slippers, okay. What do you think he's stealing? Somebody that has not watched the movie yet. What do you think he is stealing? You haven't seen this? You haven't seen the movie yet, Abram? What is he stealing?
A fish, I think, because a glass of water.
Glass of water? You think there's a fish? Ooh, okay, okay. What do you think he's stealing? You have not seen the movie, right, Esmeralda? Promise? Okay. What is he stealing?
I think he's stealing his teeth.
Teeth? What do you think he is stealing? Somebody that has not seen the movie. Maribel, what do you think he's stealing? Oh, she's eating.
I think it's goldfish or teeth.
Goldfish, another goldfish. Okay, let's see. Let's see what he has stolen. He has stolen it from Grandpa's nightstand, glass of water, something in it. Let's see. I had already figured out my hiding spot. There's a large garment bag in the closet of one of the attic rooms, the kind that opens with a zipper down the side of it. Mom keeps some of Dad's old suits and a few of her dresses in it. I slid open the zipper and found a pocket in one of Dad's jackets, then put the package inside. Then I scooted back to my room, jumped into bed, and pulled the covers up. Safe and sound, I'd done it. Now I'd have to settle back and get some sleep because there sure was going to be a lot of excitement in the morning. Grandpa was going to be very, very angry when he woke up. And I couldn't blame him. It's really a disgusting trick to steal somebody's false teeth. Oh, Esmeralda was right. Maribel was kind of right. They said that, well, he just told us Grandpa is going to wake up in the morning and he is not going to have his teeth. Oh, so I don't know if you know this, boys and girls, but when you get older, Hopefully, if you brush your teeth, you take care, you don't eat too much candy, you brush your teeth in the morning, you floss your teeth, you brush your teeth at night, you floss your teeth every day. Hopefully, you will have teeth when you get old like grandpa. But lots of people don't take care of their teeth very well. So what happens when you get old? You lose your teeth. You lose your teeth. So people, when they get older, they start to since they've lost their teeth, they buy fake teeth, false teeth, kind of like this. Okay, so and it looks normal. Look, those are fake teeth. So it happens. You know, you get older, you lose you lose your teeth. You still want to be able to you still want to be able to eat, right? And talk. So yeah, people buy false teeth, false teeth. So they buy something like this so they can have teeth. Okay? So grandpa had his false teeth. He takes them off at night, puts them in a jar, puts them in a cup, and Peter just stole them. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 34, War's End. I couldn't believe I had slept peacefully through the rest of the night, but there was the time on my clock radio, 8:30 in the morning. I lay back in my bed and tried to listen to the house. There were stirrings from someplace downstairs. Mom was probably up by now. Saturday was her supermarket day. She usually took Dad along to help her, and Jenny and me, we wanted to go. She was in the kitchen, and Jenny and me, if we wanted to go. She was in the kitchen now. I heard the sound of the pot cabinet under the stove slamming shut. She was probably beginning to prepare our Saturday morning breakfast of French toast or pancakes. I heard the water running in my parents' bathroom on the second floor. That meant Dad was up and washing. Then I heard what I'd been listening for. Uneven footsteps sounded on the stairs as Grandpa came limping up to see me. I waited. There was a knock on the door. "Come in, Grandpa," I called out. The door opened and Grandpa was there, but his eyes looked awfully angry. He came into the room sideways, his face turned toward the window and away from me. "My peep are missing," he said. I stared at him. "What?" "My peep, my peep, my peep, my peep," he said. "You are my peep. You have my peep. Uphill, you have my peep." I got out of bed. As I did that, Grandpa turned his back on me. "Up, Papa! Unk at me. Up, look at me," he said. It sounded like he was talking pig Latin or some kind of weird language. "I don't understand you," I said. "My peep, my peep, my peep, my peep," shouted Grandpa. "If me act my peep, you little booger." Suddenly, the dawn came up in my brain. That's the way Grandpa speaks without his teeth. Amazing and weird. You're asking me to give you your teeth back to you, right? I said. Grandpa nodded his head. Well, I said, you have to do something for me first. Oh, man, Pete, Pete, my feet, I made my feet. I translated that in my head. You need your teeth, right? Everybody needs teeth, but we're fighting a war, remember? Oh, Peter, war is war. Surrender right now, or I'll never give you back your teeth. I mean it. Grandpa turned his face toward me then, and there was such a sad look in his eyes, it almost made me want to cry. Without his teeth, his mouth looked all pushed in and wrinkled. He looked so old and helpless. Just seeing him standing there like that, a person I loved as much as anyone in the world, in the whole wide world, I felt about as low as a worm's belly button. I can't explain what happened next. All I can do is tell you what I did. I ran down the hall to the closet where I'd hidden his teeth. Then I came back in a minute and handed them over, still wrapped so neat in those soft paper tissues. Grandpa took them and went into the bathroom. Closing the door behind him, I heard the water running in the sink. Then he came out with his teeth back in his mouth, looking like my grandpa again. We stared at each other, not saying anything. I turned away from him and looked out the window across the street. Mr. Taub was mowing his lawn. The war is over, I said. I hope you forgive me for what I did. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm ashamed of myself. I could curl up in a ball and just disappear. Oh, Peter, Grandpa said, sighing. Maybe this is how wars get started and just go on and on and on. I said, your enemy does something bad to you, so you do something worse to him, and then he gets you back, and then you get him back, and then the whole thing gets bigger and bigger and meaner, and in the end, someone drops a bomb. Isn't that the way that it happens? Something like that, Grandpa said. Well, I said, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken your teeth. It's my fault too, Grandpa said. Don't take it all on yourself, Petey. I started it, I said, and I let you. Grandpa said, don't take it all on yourself. I'm the grown-up here. I should have known better. But you know what? I enjoyed it. It was kind of fun, and I think I needed something to get over my sadness. Grandpa came up behind me as I looked out the window. I felt his big hands on my shoulders. Then his arms grabbed me and hugged me to his chest. All of us got off on the wrong foot, he said. Your parents took your room away and shut you up, Pete. That was mistake number one. Just because you shut someone up, it doesn't mean his hurt has gone away. There should have been a family conference or something like that, including me, and we could have figured out where I was going to stay. That causes a lot of wars too, Pete. Not talking. I'll get used to living up here, I said. I'm really sorry I took your room away, Grandpa said. But I'm not sorry you came to live with us, I said. Grandpa hugged me a little tight at that and kissed the top of my head. You're a real sweet kid, he said, but a hard guy to fight a war against. I still lost, I said. Yes, said Grandpa, but only by the skin of my teeth. Chapter 35, bottoms up. This is our second to last chapter, boys and girls. We're almost done. Or third to last chapter. These last chapters are very, very short. After breakfast that day, Daddy and Jenny went off to the supermarket. I chose to stay home with Grandpa. He was sitting in the kitchen having his third cup of coffee. He looked like he was thinking hard. You know, he said, there has to be another way for me to live here without taking your room away. Let's think on it, Petey. There's only so many rooms, I said, right? I mean, you couldn't exactly live in the kitchen or in the dining room. Bunking in the living room is out, Grandpa said with a grin. Right, and the top floor is out because of your leg. 2 flights is too much. And the porch would be cold in the winter, Grandpa said. That's silly. Of course, he said. Besides, the paper boy and the milkman would keep waking me up every morning. Grandpa, be serious, I laughed. He ran a hand from the top of his face to the bottom and wiped off his smile. Okay, serious. What's left in this old house? The basement, I said, but that's Dad's office. Dad's office is down there. Say, that's right, Grandpa said. I'd kind of forgotten that. He fixed the basement up himself, didn't he? After Grandma and me had moved to Florida. It's kind of dingy, I said. Let's take a look. I opened the door to the basement, which was in the hall right off the kitchen, and Grandpa followed me down the stairs. I put on the lights. It's dark down here, I told Grandpa, because it's one of the 3 ceiling lights, because only one of the 3 ceiling lights work. Grandpa looked around the big room, peeking into the tiny bathroom. Not too promising, is it? He said. Dad's not a good fixer-upper, I said. That's why he's an accountant, Grandpa said. He took the stepladder Dad kept against the wall and set it up, then climbed up and poked away a ceiling panel to peek through the hole. These light fixtures weren't wired too good, he said, but the cable is fine. He climbed carefully down the ladder. Do me a favor, Pete, he said. Do me a favor, Pete, he said. Run on out to the garage and get me my big tape measure from out of my toolbox, would you please? I see I got scrap paper and pencil right there on your dad's desk. When I brought the tape measure back to him, Grandpa was talking to himself. Heating ducts and plumbing are okay, and electricity can be pulled through. It's a start anyway. Grandpa took the tape measure and began measuring the floor. I held the end down for him while he did the unrolling. All the time he was writing measurements on his scrap paper. Then he sat down at Dad's desk and made a sketch of the room. When he was finished, he turned the paper around so I could see it. I'm thinking about my own little apartment down here, Pete, he said. I think it could be really cozy. It's kind of dark, isn't it? I said, well, I'd fix those lights and put in a couple of lamps. Some of these floor tiles are loose, Grandpa. I'd have some carpet put down. It'll warm up the place too. The walls are yucky, I said. Paneling them will help. Make the place neat too. And I could enlarge that little bathroom, put in a stall shower. There's a gas line over in the corner. You know, I figured I could put in a little stove and maybe hang a cabinet there. So sometimes I could cook some things on my own or make a cup of coffee down here. Sounds like a lot of work, I said. And the door leads out to the driveway, so I'd even have my own private entrance. I don't know, Grandpa, I said. It's a lot of work. Hey, Petey, he grinned. I used to build whole houses, remember? Why, one little apartment ought to be a snap. You'll help me some, won't you? You bet. Then it'll take no time at all. And maybe a little privacy for me and a lot more privacy for the rest of you is not a bad idea. Now, all we have to do is convince your dad. It's his house, after all. I had a very bad thought. What if he says no, Grandpa? I don't think he will, Pete. But what if he does? Will we have to go to war with my dad? Grandpa threw his head back and laughed. That would be fun. But no. No, Petey, no more wars. From now on, this family will talk everything out in the open peacefully, I hope. Building the peace. It didn't take very long to convince Dad about turning his basement office into Grandpa's new apartment. On the other hand, it wasn't as easy as I thought either. I know that Dad and Grandpa and Mom talked about it a lot, mostly when I wasn't around, but I managed to listen in a few times from my secret spot under the stairs. Dad was worried about how much it was going to cost. Grandpa told him that he had money saved, and if I can't spend it on my daughter's house, making a place to live the rest of my life, where can I spend it? Dad seemed a lot more willing after that, but he was worried about losing his office. You'll have your office upstairs in the guest room, Grandpa explained. 2 flights of stairs mean nothing to you, but only 1 flight down means a lot to me. Dad surrendered after that, and the work began. Grandpa got these men who used to work for him in the old days to help. They mostly worked in the evenings, moonlighting, Grandpa called it, though they kept the lights on all the time. And I helped a lot. Grandpa showed me how to bang in a nail, how to pull a wire through a wall, and how to watch out for electricity when you are putting up lights. What you don't want, he told me, is a shocking experience. It took a little more than 6 weeks to finish Grandpa's basement apartment, but when it was done, it looked beautiful. He had a nice brown rug on the floor, a stove to make coffee, and things. A new easy chair to just sit and relax in. Mom and Dad bought Grandpa a color TV of his own so he could watch his programs downstairs when he wanted to watch something else in the living room. When we wanted to watch something else in the living room. And Grandpa's new little bathroom was so neat. One day, he even let me use his brand new shower stall. It was great. But the best day was when Grandpa and his friends finished moving all of his furniture. Finished moving all of his furniture into the basement apartment. Because when they got everything in place, they went up to the top floor and moved all of my things back into my old room. Let's look at this picture here. There's Grandpa and Pete. I helped them put all of my stuff back in all of the right places. I wanted my room to be exactly the way it was. Not one thing different. I lined up the shoeboxes holding my baseball cards in the same spot they used to be, and I rehung my Hank Aaron poster right over the middle of my dresser. When everything was in place and Grandpa and his friends left, I laid down on my bed and thought for a while. I have to tell you, I had a smile on my face. I just couldn't take it off. I was back where I belonged, in my room, where I'd always lived. It was like I had put back on my favorite pair of flannel pajamas that first cold night in the fall. My room was so comfortable and it fit me. I belonged to it and it belonged to me again. And then I started to think about some other things too, how you shouldn't always do what your friends tell you to do. They're not living your life, you are. And you have to decide what's right or wrong. While I was laying there, feeling the best I'd felt in a long time, I heard a loud banging noise on the outside of my door. I got up to look. When Grandpa swung the door open, he had a hammer in his hand and one more nail to put in. "It's a little present I made for you," he said. What do you think his present is? A sign that says Pete's Place. Isn't that cool? Turn the page. He was hanging a wooden sign on my door that had letters kind of burned into the wood. Pete's Place, the sign said. I grabbed Grandpa and gave him a hug. It's terrific, I said. Thanks. He gave me his best smile. You didn't lose your room, Pete, he said, and you've gained a grandpa. Chapter 37. This is the last chapter. For my teacher. This last chapter is for you, Mrs. Klein. I want to thank you for all the encouragement you gave me when I wanted to quit so many times, and for giving me so much extra time to finish, like the whole term. I think maybe when I grew up, I might be a writer. I got used to slipping upstairs into my dad's office to type a chapter every night after dinner. Some of the longer chapters took a week, and one of them took even longer. Mostly, it was fun, but some of it was hard work. I felt so dumb sitting there when the words wouldn't come out, but if you wait long enough and think hard enough and your little sister keeps out of your hair, you can do it. I learned that starting is the hardest part, and it gets easier as you go along. But the ending is making me a little sad. I'm thinking, what will I do tomorrow night instead of coming up here to work on my story? Maybe I'll have to start thinking about another story. Anyway, this is the true and real story of Peter Stokes and the war with his grandpa. I hope you like it. And I sure hope you don't take too much off for bad spelling and grammar. The end. The story is over. Boys and girls, congratulations. Congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause. A round of applause. You, yes, you, and 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 all of you have just finished the war with Grandpa. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, real quick, everyone split your screen right now, just like when we do Kahoot. Everyone split your screen, and you are going to have me on one screen, and then you're going to have your AR test on the other screen. Okay? So log into AR. Everybody log into AR right now. I'm also going to split my screen so I can see the AR test too. So I can see your screens. I want everybody on the screen. Everybody on the screen. I'm also going to, let's see here. Yes, I see you, Alana. Go ahead and go and get on AR. Let's see. Everyone's Stephanie, go ahead. Thank you. Stephanie is looking up how to split your screen. You push the, I think the command button or the control button, and then you hit the brackets, and then it'll split the screen for you. So go ahead and split your screen right now. So that way you can see me and you can see the test. Okay, so you can see the test. Go ahead. Question, Uriel?
It doesn't let me split my screen.
You're gonna have to go ahead and look up here. Let me show you real quick. I'm gonna share my screen right now. Actually, you know what? I need to stop this recording. So we're gonna take our test. And then you will be done. So boys and girls, if you're watching this recording, please make sure to take your AR test. It is worth 30 points. It is worth 30 points. 30 points. Have a great day. And go take your AR test.